Level 1. The Candidate. The instructor is 6 inches from your face and you can feel the spit when he talks. It is 4:47 in the morning. You have been awake for 31 hours. Your boots are wet, your hands are shaking from the cold water they made you stand in 20 minutes ago, and somewhere behind you, 3 men just quit. You didn't look back when they rang the bell. That matters. You don't know why yet, but it does. This is Fort Benning, Georgia. You are in the first week of infantry OSUT, and everything you thought you knew about your body is being systematically proven wrong. The limits you believed in don't exist here. The version of you that existed before this place, that person is already gone. You run 6 miles before the sun comes up. You do it on 4 hours of sleep and a protein bar. You don't complain because complaining is information. It tells the cadre what breaks you. Nothing breaks you. Not because you're special, because you've decided not to be. That decision, quiet, internal, made in the dark, is the only thing that separates you from the men who rang the bell. You already understand the first rule. Endurance is a choice disguised as a physical act. Level 2. The Regiment. Ranger School is 81 days of controlled starvation. You lose 22 pounds. You hallucinate on the 3rd patrol. You see your mother standing in the tree line in the mountains of Dahlonega, Georgia, and for a half second you almost call out to her. You don't. You keep walking. The 75th Ranger Regiment doesn't take the best athletes. It takes the people who function when functioning is impossible. You graduate with a tab on your left shoulder and orders to F. Lewis, 2nd Battalion. The first time you kick in a door in Kandahar Province, Afghanistan, your hands don't shake. That surprises you. Later, sitting in the FOB, you try to figure out why. The answer you arrive at is not comforting. The training worked so well that the danger doesn't fully reach you anymore. You file that thought away. The currency here is reputation. Not rank, not time in service, reputation. How you move in a stack, whether you hesitate, whether the guy next to you would choose you again. They would. They do. Level 3. The Selection. Someone watches you on a deployment you didn't know you were being watched on. 6 months later, a man in civilian clothes hands you a card with nothing but a phone number on it. He tells you to think about it. He says it the way someone says it when thinking is not actually part of the offer. You call within 48 hours. Special Forces Assessment and Selection is 24 days in the Uwharrie National Forest in North Carolina. No teams, no cadre pushing you, just you, a rucksack, land navigation checkpoints, and the slow understanding that you are competing against a standard nobody will define for you. That is the point. You pass. The Q course is 61 weeks. You come out the other side speaking Pashto at a conversational level, qualified on 17 weapon systems, trained in unconventional warfare, and fundamentally chained in a way you won't be able to articulate for years. You are assigned to 3rd Special Forces Group. You spend the next 2 years building relationships with tribal leaders in places no map bothers naming. The real mission is never the one in the briefing. You understand this without being told. You adapt. You persuade. You move through environments that would kill a lesser prepared man, and you do it quietly. Quiet is the word. Quiet is everything. Level 4. The Teams. The call comes differently this time. No card, no meeting. A master sergeant you respect tells you there are people who want to talk to you, and the way he says it tells you this is not a suggestion. Buds would have been years ago if you took the Navy path. SEAL Teams 2, 4, 8, 10, Tier 2 units, which is still a designation that would end most careers at their peak. But you are not at their peak. You are being looked at for something above them. The Naval Special Warfare Development Group, DevGRU. Green Team selection runs 6 months. The attrition rate is close to 50% among men who were already the best in their respective pipelines. You train in close quarters battle scenarios so specific that by month 3, you can clear a room in the dark against armed opposition and feel nothing except the mechanical satisfaction of a task completed correctly. You stop dreaming. Not from trauma, from efficiency. Your brain has reclassified the things it needs to process. You don't tell your wife this. She asks how training is going. You say, good. She doesn't ask follow-up questions anymore. She stopped about a year ago. You don't examine what that means. Level 5. The unit. Delta Force doesn't officially exist. First Special Forces Operation Delta, the Combat Applications Group, CAG, whatever name the paperwork uses this week. It doesn't matter. The men inside it have stopped caring about names. You went through OTC, the Operator Training Course, and came out the other side cleared for direct action against the highest value targets on the planet. You operate in 4-man assault teams. You operate in environments where conventional forces cannot go and where failure produces geopolitical consequences that get discussed in the Situation Room. You know this because sometimes you are in the room adjacent to it. The operations don't feel heroic. They feel technical, precise. You fly into a compound in northeastern Syria, you take the target, you are wheels up within 11 minutes, and you are back in a forward base eating cold food before the news cycle even knows the mission happened. No medals for this. No ceremony. The currency has changed. It is no longer reputation among peers. It is access. Who calls you? Who knows your name in rooms you never entered officially? Your name is in several of those rooms now. Level 6. The Task Force. The men who run task force operations don't wear rank in the traditional sense. You are now coordinating across agencies: CIA, NSA, DIA, JOSOC. The acronyms stop meaning individual things and start meaning a single unified system with one function: finding people and making decisions about what happens to them. You run target packages. You review intelligence from sources you are not briefed on the origin of. You sign off on operations involving assets in 4 countries simultaneously, and you do it from a building in Virginia that doesn't appear on any public map. The decision-making weight accumulates. You stop noticing when it gets heavier. That is how you know it has become permanent. There are men in this building who have been here for 20 years. They move slowly. They speak in short sentences. They don't explain their reasoning because their reasoning has become institutional, absorbed into the system so completely that separating the man from the machine would be a surgical problem, not a personnel one. You watch them and understand. This is the path. You take it anyway. Level 7. The Architecture. You are not operational anymore. Operational means someone else can track you, predict you, plan against you. You have become something harder to target than that. You sit at the intersection of intelligence, policy, and capability. You brief people who brief presidents. You recommend courses of action that will not appear in any public record for 25 years, if ever. The ISA, the Intelligence Support Activity, runs collection operations that feed everything downstream. You have visibility into that feed now. Not officially, nothing at this level is official, but visibility is real regardless of what the paperwork says. You know where 3 of the world's most wanted men sleep tonight. 2 of them are still useful alive. You made that call. You will make it again tomorrow. And the mechanism of your conscience that used to process decisions like this has been, not silenced exactly, rerouted. The signal still exists, it just no longer reaches anywhere it can affect action. You fly business class using a name that is not yours. You carry a phone with a number that doesn't exist in any database. You meet a man in a hotel in Amman, and you exchange 11 sentences, and those 11 sentences will determine what happens in a country of 4 million people over the next 18 months. You eat breakfast alone after. You order eggs. You read nothing. You think about very little. Level 8. The Quiet Room. There is no ceremony for reaching this level. No title, no briefing, no moment where someone explains to you what you now are. You simply notice one morning that the people who used to give you direction have stopped. Not because they no longer exist, because they have concluded direction is no longer necessary. You are the direction. You are 61 years old. You have operated in 37 countries. You have never been arrested, photographed by press, or officially named in any public document linked to any operation you actually conducted. Your declassified file, which you have read, describes a career in logistics. You sit in a room in a building that moves sometimes, not a ship, but something like that, and you make decisions that have the texture of silence. Not dramatic, not loud, just final. The men who work beneath you are extraordinary by any civilian measure. By your measure, they are early. They still feel the weight. You can see it in the way they carry themselves after difficult operations. The micro adjustments, the 3 seconds of stillness before they answer a question. You remember feeling that weight. You don't anymore. That is not pride. That is the cost. The thing you traded without realizing the transaction was happening. Freedom went first, then the future, then sleep, then the version of yourself that existed before the first instructor got 6 inches from your face in the Georgia dark. What remains functions. It is capable and experienced and precise. But it is not the thing that walked into selection. Somewhere tonight, a 23-year-old is staring at a phone number on a plain white card.
He's thinking about what it means. He is telling himself he's ready. He is calculating what he's willing to sacrifice. He doesn't know the right number yet. He thinks he does. He will spend the next 30 years learning exactly how wrong he was, and then he will sit in a quiet room, and he will understand. The system doesn't end. It just finds the next one.